Hello, and welcome to Leadership Table Talk, a show designed to help you develop and improve your executive leadership skills and talents. I'm your host, Dr. Mary Gillam, a retired Air Force colonel and former member of the Senior Executive Service Corps with the Department of Defense at the Pentagon. A few months ago, I had the privilege to interview retired Air Force General Larry O. Spencer. During the interview, I could hear General Spencer's passion for developing young men of character, which he documented in his book, Dark Horse. In this episode of Leadership Table Talk, I want to discuss developing young men of character in a chaotic world. To discuss this topic with me are two brothers that I truly admire, Mr. Myles Johnson and Mr. Derek Johnson Jr. Myles and Derek, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having me.
So, guys, let's begin by just telling the audience a little bit about your background. Why don't I start with you, Myles?
Hi, so I'm Myles Johnson, 22 years old, and just graduated from Virginia Tech with a degree in neuroscience and double majoring in psychology.
Yes, absolutely. And Derek, how about you?
I'm Derek. I'm currently a student at Virginia Tech, and I'm studying engineering.
Oh, good. Okay. Guys, well, since I've known you guys for a long time, through your parents, obviously, we met when we were in Germany. So let me ask you guys, what is it that you admired most about your parents?
Honestly, I think a lot of it just comes to seeing like their perseverance.
Yes.
How hardworking they are. We kind of just saw how a lot went into raising us, and their willingness to sacrifice a lot for just in general. And so they kind of were just a great example for us and model for us growing up. That's honestly, one of the things I most admire about them.
Well, that's wonderful. How about you?
It goes along the lines of hard work, but more so how they never avoided the hard work that goes into like doing what they needed to do. For in their professions, a lot of times they worked like countless hours. And then when it came to us especially, they never like said, I'm not gonna do this for you. They always went and took the extra step.
Oh, that is wonderful. I know they're probably just bubbling over with what you guys are saying. So let me ask you this. Since you were both military dependents for a long time, how did that background or upbringing impact your development today?
It was really impactful, I would say, because growing up, we moved around to a lot of different places, got to meet a lot of different people, experienced a lot of different things. And so I think a lot of that, it went into expanding my perspective, as a young kid, and the perspective I have now. So like kind of just shaped the world the way I think.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Myles. Derek, sorry.
Being a military brat, you learn oftentimes how to adapt because you move around to different places at like the drop of a dime. And it causes you to learn how to talk to people, make new friends, and just like associate yourself in the world.
Oh, that is so important, because I remember when I was in Germany, and I didn't have any children, but when I would see the military kids, and I would be like, wow, the things that they got to do. And I said, when I grew up in North Carolina, a very small town, it's like, okay, you missed the light, okay, you missed the city, And I was like, okay, you going where for your field trip? And they would be like, we're going. And that was because these kids I taught when I was in Sunday school and stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, I could only wish. So I know that there were some pluses to being, a dependent and having the opportunity to travel around like that and stuff. So guys, let me ask you this. What are some of the challenges that are facing our young men today that you would like to maybe address in your own words?
In my work, I think a lot of issues surrounding mental health for men, because a lot of times, there's the image of this strong man that, nothing kind of bothers them, right? And I think that with that mentality, then men start to, shrug off what they feel or just like kind of bury it deep down and don't kind of, address it in a way, acknowledge it. And so sometimes that just, I think it kind of goes unmentioned and things like that.
Yes. How about you, Derek?
Mental health especially, also for me, because I realized that a lot of times as men, as Myles said, that we kind of shrug off our emotions. And it's important to just trust some people that you can talk to, and maybe just anybody you feel like a teacher or a parent.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so important, because when I was in the military, one of the things that they would often talk about, and this is when I was young in the military, is that people, if you had any kind of crisis, you didn't talk about it. You didn't talk about it. You kind of brushed it under the rug or something, because there was a perception at that time that if you did that, then okay, there went your career. Because I remember a young guy telling me this very early in the military, and he said the reason he never mentioned it was because of the perception, and he obviously much older than I and way older than you guys, and so if that was the perception back then, I can only imagine, you know, what it is today. And so I'm really glad you guys addressed that. That was really interesting.
Yeah, I think also just a lot of people don't take time to, you know, carve out that time to, you know, take care of yourself. Because, you know, just if you're working, just keep on the go, and then you just don't think about it. So it's something that sometimes it's easy to not think about, but it's very important.
Because again, you know, I can relate a lot to my military experience and stuff. And there were times when people would work, and I hate to admit it because I was probably guilty too, of working very, very long hours, and oh, got to get it done, got to get it done. Yes, you had to get it done. And a lot of times it was to the unfortunately, to the expense of other things that you needed to look after and stuff, because home comes first, and taking care of you. And if you're broken, you know, it's going to be hard to take care of others. And I know in a lot of companies today, they have work-life balance. But you were going to say something, Myles?
I really learned that it's important to process your feelings and really understand why you're feeling a certain way, because it'll help you grow in the future.
Getting to the root of it, whatever it is. Fantastic, guys. Oh, I knew I had the right set of guys to bring on the show today. So let me ask you something. Okay, we talked about mental health. So as a society, what can we do to help in that regard?
I think just bring more attention to the issue. I think, you know, today, a lot of it's being done. So I think that's like a really big thing. And making like a safe space or like a norm for us to like come forward with these issues, and like to know that it is okay to feel this way, and that you can acknowledge these feelings and like have a productive outlet to kind of get up this pent up, like, I guess, energy and feelings.
Would you like to comment?
Yeah, I feel like more is being done today, but just make it common, not like common talk, to check it on everybody, and make sure, like, normally we talk about games and like what we're doing, but make sure we check in on people and see how they're doing mentally.
Okay. Oh man, you guys, that sound like a nonprofit. Oh, a young, you know, our Gen Z doing a nonprofit in that space. Ooh, I'm learning. Okay, guys, let me ask you something. What were some things that your parents did in their home that kept you guys on the right track?
For me, our parents shared a lot of the mistakes they made in their life, and they kind of use that to guide us in the future.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to say I think the main thing is keeping God at the center.
Yes.
Being the foundation that like we always come back to, no matter like whatever else crumbles, or, you know, that God is the center there. Kind of just like we can, you know, no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Right.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Those two have like just been like a rock, you know, that's helped me in a lot of ways.
Because I'm going to share something with you guys. I write. I write a lot of books, and I wrote this particular book called Women Stop the Chase, Let God's Man Find You. And when I first released that book, a lot of people did not realize that I had actually been married. And so I had to do a revised edition so that I can make sure that people understood that, I was coming from a place of experience, that, you don't be afraid to share the experiences that you've had, because it only helps to make, others stronger. And I had so many ladies after I did the revised edition to say how they really appreciated the fact, my honesty and all of that. And so, yes, being able to share your experiences and so forth. And okay, you highlighted faith, and I know your parents, I've known them for years, and I know that they are parents of faith. And so how has faith, been the bedrock for you in your lives?
For me, speaking from experience, it's been, God has just helped me with everything I've accomplished. Like, there would be no anything without him. So like, I remember just times in the dorm when I'm studying for neuroscience, and I'm like, am I ever gonna get this degree? Like, will this end? And I mean, here I am now. So like, only because of him. So I'm so grateful because of that.
Yes.
Faith is the most important thing in my life, because it's like something I can lean on. Like, knowing that, like Myles was saying, working hard, there's often times when you're kind of unsure of the end result, but just knowing that God is there for you, it's reassuring.
And let me share my experience with you guys. When I was in college, when I first went off to college, I thought I had enough money, and misread some things here. Okay, they gave me the money, and it was actually for the year, and I actually thought it was for the semester, and so I ended up not having enough. And I prayed. I went back to my dorm room, fell on my knees, but I was taught by my blind grandmother that I grew up with the importance of prayer, but then I had a relationship with the Lord myself. And so I went back, fell on my knees, and like I said, prayed and asked God to turn that around. And he did. And I got back up, went over to the finance office, and they found money in extra grants and things like that. And I was able to stay in college. And this is my first semester. And I'm like,
Like the first semester.
Get out, your first semester, But, and from that point on, I got scholarships and stuff. But I said from the very beginning, if it wasn't for faith in God, I would not have made it through college. And so, guys, I don't know where the time has gone, right? This 13 minutes have gone so fast here. But it looks like we're coming up on our break. And so please stay tuned, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Teens today take on leadership roles on the court, in the classroom, and in the community. Leadership Fairfax is looking for rising high school juniors and seniors who want to take their skills to the next level. Since 1987, Leadership Fairfax has inspired, engaged, developed, and connected with more than 1,600 leaders at all stages of their careers. This summer, learn leadership skills for college and beyond from Fairfax County's best and brightest. Begin your journey today by visiting leadershipfairfax.org.
Welcome back to Leadership Table Talk. My guests in the studio today are two young men I've known for a very long time, Myles and Derek Johnson Jr. So guys, before the break, we were talking about, first of all, you corrected me on the term, what is it?
Gen Z.
Gen Z. Because I was wanting to call you guys millennials, but Gen Z, okay, good. So Myles, as a recent college graduate, what was your experience like at Virginia Tech?
I'd like to say I think I had a great experience, I'd say, yeah. I learned a lot in the classroom, outside the classroom. Made a lot of friends, and grateful for all the opportunities I had there. Just allowed me to branch out. So overall, I'd say I was grateful for the experience. It was one I remember for a long time.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, Derek Jr., well, I'll call you Derek, because you are a student there now.
Yes.
What made you decide to want to go to Virginia Tech? Is it because your bigger brother was?
No, actually, it was for the engineering program. Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about it, and it's ranking, and I really want to go there to further my career.
Okay, good, good. And so your experiences so far, you
Yes.
good?
It was a little different to start off since we had quarantine
Yes.
and everything was online, but it's been pretty good so far.
Okay, so since you brought that up, what was that like for you, the quarantine aspect as a student?
It was crazy because a lot of times, it happened my senior year of high school, and a lot of times people expect, wrapping up things, having more fun.
Yes.
And then I remember the day actually when we had the message from our head of school who told us school was going fully online. We were staying home. It was crazy. I remember I was with my friends. We were all surprised. And it just went from going to regular day to day to being at home in front of a computer. But I feel like it showed me, kind of gave me some time to, as we talked about before, process who I am. It gave me time to figure out who I am as a person.
That is wonderful. So guys, since the show is about leadership, let me ask you guys, what does leadership mean to you? What is it?
I think being a leader is, or leadership means to me is that there's sometimes this misconception of someone who's this strong independent leader that just leads people, or there's a predetermined number of people to lead. But I feel like everyone can lead in their own way, and I feel like it's about taking what you know and the experiences that you have, and then finding solutions to problems that need answers. And so kind of embodying who you are and as a person, your morals and values, and people kind of see that and follow because of what you stand for.
So as a leader, it is important for the leader to set the example. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So Derek, let me ask you this. When it comes down to leadership, how important are things like honesty, integrity, respect? What would you say?
They set the foundation. And I realized growing up that morals make the man, or make the person, essentially. And if you have a leadership that's built upon dishonesty and many other bad qualities, you kind of have a foundation that's kind of crumbled. So if you have a leadership that's built upon values that you firmly believe in and that are righteous, you'll have a strong leadership that's you, and you can personally lead it the way you see is best.
So that was wonderful. Let me ask you guys this. The importance of having established your core values, because as a leader, and you may be thrust into different situations, but if you do not have core values that you have already established for yourself, how can that just really cause an organization to crumble from the top down?
I think because having that core value already set,
yes,
then you're going to be tossed into whatever, and it could shake whatever it is. But if that core thing is set, then whatever you're in, whatever situation, you'll be able to maneuver just fine, because you know who and what you are.
Absolutely, absolutely. You agree?
It gives you the confidence to really firmly go in what you believe in, because a lot of times being a leader, you have to kind of make split decisions.
Yes, yes.
And if you have your values to back you up, you can just go ahead and make each decision based on yourself.
And you can say, okay, because of who I am, this is what I will do, and this is what I will not do. Because I can tell you, having been in leadership for many, many years, there's so many times when you're thrust into situations that you cannot afford to decide what you will and will not do once you're in the situation, because you don't have time. Like you said, making those split decisions, and people are watching you all the time. They're watching you all the time. So let me ask you guys, have you ever served in a leadership capacity?
Yeah, I've served, just being, in high school. I was an ambassador, so I had to, tour, give tours to the school, to prospective parents and students.
Yes.
And just that as itself, people were watching you down the halls as you're why are these people here? And you're just giving a tour down the halls, and people see that. So you're representing the school basically.
Yes, exactly.
So they see the school through you, and there's no time to be figuring out who what your values are in the school. You know what I mean? It's just it's it's good to have them already set.
Absolutely, because I can tell you that I was talking with your parents earlier, and one of the things that they told me that they have instilled in you guys is the name that you represent, because you was talking about the school, and so when you turn it back on the family, is that your last name is what?
Johnson.
And so, and what does that mean to you? Derek, what does that mean to you?
For me, it means, I looked up online when I was younger, I was really curious. Johnson means son of John the Baptist, and it just holds great weight. And John the Baptist baptized Jesus, and it's like, I kind of felt chosen when I read that. But for me, essentially to my family, it just means being respectful, taking care of your family, and just keeping God first.
So as young men, and you value the importance of your name. And so when you step out your front door, it's not just you, but you're carrying the weight of your family behind you, that you're representing them as well. Oh, this is awesome. We could just go on and on and on. So, so I think we talked a little bit about this before, but let's just delve into it just a little bit more when it comes down to integrity. Because a lot of times people do things and it reflects, to a certain degree, a lack of integrity. So what does integrity mean to you guys?
Integrity, I think, honestly, it is a core value that is based on just being honest and moving with a sense of morality, where people can see like a genuine character. And I think the genuine character part is what, attracts people to you. Like, because like I said before, they see you in it all and what you stand for. So integrity and honor is a big thing.
Yes, did you have anything?
For me, it's like a strong, not only just like honesty, but a strong honesty and intention. Like what are you trying to do in each situation? Do you want to make sure everybody is taken care of? Everybody has a better result? So integrity for me is just always seeing the best for what everybody else is, and just being strong in that and not wavering.
Let me ask you guys something here, because of a lot of things that are going on in our society today, and you see, unfortunately, a lot of young men who I would say are making some unwise choices, because the decisions that you make can impact your life for the rest of your life. And a lot of times, even when it comes down to getting a job, and they'll go out, your potential prospect employer will go out and do a Google search like everybody, and they'll pull up all kinds of stuff. And so we want to try to help as many as we can to understand the importance of being careful what you do. So what kind of advice would you give, especially our young men today, to help to kind of keep them on the right track? What would you say to them today?
For me, I've recently gotten into my Bible more, and Proverbs, as a way to start, it really sets up how you should live your life. So, I mean, we've talked about it all the time, but just God first, because He really sets you up on how to live.
Yes. And Proverbs is known as one of the wisdom books.
I think also just knowing that you have to think about your future. Have to think about what you're doing now and how that affects not just you but the people around you, and how the biggest thing is how people perceive. So it's sometimes not even what you do, but it's how people perceive it. So just taking that into account and just being just fully aware of situations that you're in. I think that's just the first step, but it's a big step.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important what you listen to and what you allow to feed into your spirit, to make sure that you're not receiving all kinds of negative stuff, because then that's what's going to flow out. And so let me ask, what is the biggest misconception that other generations have about Gen Zers today?
I'd say that probably, that we're kind of out of touch with reality, in a sense that
I've heard that.
Yeah, kind of just like that we don't understand, I guess, hard work, what it means to be, like what it goes into being successful, because, our relationship with social media and technology and things like that. But I think that just because, we grew up with, the technology. We understand the internet mechanisms of it, and we just understand that things kind of just move faster in this world today as we like have more exposure, and like because of the internet, you know, people can see things just see what you do a lot more. So it's not that we don't understand the hard work, but we just know that you have a bigger impact now than, you know, previously before.
For me, I've heard a lot of that Gen Z is filled with people who are unmotivated. And I've noticed that we are more passionate and bold in our decisions and what we stand for.
Oh, we could just go on and on and on. I have just enjoyed talking with you guys today. I've just really, oh my goodness. Before we close, I just want to ask you guys, from a mentoring standpoint, was your dad your mentor?
Yeah, yes, of course, of course.
I just knew it. And your mom.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
But personally, I just want to commend you guys for the outstanding professionalism that you have displayed over the course that I have known you and your parents and so forth. And I just thank God for having our paths having crossed, you know, over this time. And I don't know where the time has gone, but it looks like our time is gone for today. So I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules, because I know you guys are both working, to come and be with me on the show today to share your insight and perspective, because I know it's going to be a blessing and inspiration to many when they see the show. So I want to thank you guys again, and I want to thank you, our listening audience, for watching the Leadership Tables Talk show. I hope that you've been informed and inspired by our two guests today. Again, this is Dr. Mary Gillam, owner of Premier Strategic Solutions, LLC. And wow, I've just got to say this again, how I've truly enjoyed this show, because I know it's going to really inspire many to watch it again and again and again. And so if you'd like to know more about the show, please visit my website at premierstrategicsolutions.com. That easy, premierstrategicsolutions.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye for today.